everybody, it's Katie, the Celestial Homebody, and oh my goodness gracious, I feel like it has been 10 years since I've actually sat down and filmed. Hasn't been 10 years. If it was, then I would be looking really good for being 40. But it has been over a month since I've actually sat down and filmed a video for you guys. Everything that you have seen over the past couple of weeks was pre-recorded that I had ready to upload so that while I was recovering from surgery that I had in early November, I would just be able to publish the videos and not have to worry about putting on the clown makeup and sitting here and you know how it is. So now it is currently December 4th, I believe. Yes, December 4th. And we are here to show you guys what I have crocheted over the past couple of weeks while I have been MIA recovering from surgery. And you guys, I have 100 items to show you. It is covering my entire desk as well as the trash can below my desk as well as my floor. All of the stuff that I have crocheted. Before I forget though, before I get into it, if you are watching this video on December 5th, Friday, the day that it airs on YouTube, and you're in the Indianapolis area, come say hi to me at the Winter Art Market tonight from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Harrison Art Center in Indianapolis. I would love to see you guys there. There's information on the screen for it right now. But if you're watching this in the future, then I hope to catch you on the next one. So, one more thing before I forget is you might notice my shirt that I'm wearing today is my Crochet Helper shirt with a little bit of chili stained on it. Excuse that. Now that's all you're going to be looking at, I'm sure, for the rest of the video. But I wore this shirt today to remind me to tell you guys that if you are interested in purchasing anything from Etsy or the celestialhomebody.com in terms of apparel, stickers, plushies, anything that you want to arrive for a Christmas gift for somebody, the deadline to purchase is December 10th to make sure that I'm able to pack it and ship it to you with enough time for USPS to, it's the holiday season, so you know how it is. And dealing with USPS during the holidays is not for the faint of heart. It's like playing yarn chicken. So December 10th is the deadline to purchase if you want it to arrive for a Christmas gift. So I think that was all the announcements that I have today. And for those of you who are interested in my surgery and recovery and all that, we're going to talk about that at the end of the video so that those who just want to see the plushies can dip out and then we can just have a casual, friendly chat when we're all done. So, what have I been up to these past weeks? A lot of crochet. And unfortunately, the theme of the crochet for these past few weeks is Katie loses yarn chicken. You're going to hear me say a lot. I lost yarn chicken on this, so I had to just put in a random color, unfortunately. But that's great because I was able to use up quite a bit of my storage, especially like look at how low my whites are. My pinks have gotten pretty low. I always have a ton of greens, so they're fine. But for that person who asked on my last yarn haul video, do I actually use all of this yarn? The answer is yes, and you're about to see what I use it on. So the first thing that I made, by the way, when I say the first thing, this has been a month in the making, so I don't know what I actually did first, second, third, just, and not that it matters anyways, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. I'm going to remember as much as I possibly can, but I was very loopy on anesthesia when I made a lot of these. So I'm going to try my best to remember like what yarns I used and all of that jazz. So the first thing that I'm going to show you today is this little cookie mouse. Now, I know that a lot of you guys who are here and a part of the Homebody family also follow Robin at Notting Hook Crochet. So you guys have probably seen this mouse a million times, and there is a good reason. He is adorable. This is Nibbles the Cookie Mouse. That is Nibbles with B's and not P's. Although, maybe there's a market for that too, Robin. Maybe capitalize on that. Little modification. But anyway, so this mouse is inspired by If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, you know, like children's book. And so that's why he has a little cookie. I decided to go classic mouse colors with the gray and the denim. This is Chenille Bright's denim overalls, and it's been a hot minute since I've read the book, and I think that his overalls are a lighter blue, but I don't know, I thought that with this light gray, the dark blue looked a little bit better. I will say that I did cheat on the cookie. You can see the back of my embroidery there, because you're supposed to make 2 pieces of the cookie and then crochet them together or sew them together. I'm not actually sure. And then embroider the little chocolate chips just on the top. But I made the little cookie and I lost yarn chicken and was not going to have enough to do the back of the cookie. So it's just, there's just like some chocolate chunks back there, you know? And personally, I'm a chocolate chunk kind of gal. I'm a chunky gal, as it were. I use all Chenille Basics Brights for this from Premier. Reminder, by the way, if you want to take advantage of Premier's amazing yarn lines, use that affiliate code in the description. Not the code, the link. There's a link. Just click on that and then do all your shopping, and then I earn a small commission from your purchase, and it doesn't cost you any more money. So anytime you hear me mention Premier yarns here, that's where I get it. And actually, they were having a like Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, and it was 20% off everything. And I don't know if that's still going on, but it's worth checking. Click on that link in the description box and see if they're still having that going on. And hopefully if they do, they have stock of stuff, because by the time I got around to it on this past Monday after Thanksgiving, they were already sold out of like half the colors of the Parfait plush, the Chenille Brights. They did have quite a few of the tie-dyes still left, so I stocked up. And you guys should see my office right now. I just have boxes everywhere of yarn that I have not unpacked, because we're moving into the shed in a couple of days here. So I don't know. You can tell like nothing much has changed in my background here, but outside the shed, the she shed, the new studio office has been delivered, and Ryan and I have been working away at getting it situated for moving everything over. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done. We got to put flooring down. We need to paint. I'm working on wallpaper currently. We need to get the electrician out here. They're supposed to call back today, but they didn't, to schedule them to come out to actually hook the shed up to electricity. So because it gets dark at like 4 p.m. now, we have not been able to work at nights. So it's a whole big thing. Anyways, that was a major tangent, but I'm back, baby, with tangents bigger than ever. Cookie Mouse, Nibbles, very quick pattern, and Robin always says that these sell really well. I have only ever made one, and it's sold on the website. So tomorrow at the market that I'm going to, we'll see if it sells on the first thing, the first debut. And I know Robin's also doing the little book buddies where she's making the crochet critters that go along with the books. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy if you give a mouse a cookie, so I can't include that, but I mean, it's cute enough, like, as it is on its own. Oh yeah, also I did embroider eyes, just because I figured with something like this that's small and based on a children's book character, most likely it's going to be purchased for a little youngin', a little child. So I did embroidered eyes so that we don't have to worry about the safety eyes popping out and then getting digested. So one Cookie Mouse. I have a body bag here that is completely empty. that we're just going to be throwing these in, and we're going to see if we can fill up an entire body bag with my 100 plushies. Oh, by the way, I did calculate, and all of these plushies that I'm showing you today total about $1,300. So over the past few weeks, we've got $1,350-ish more in inventory than what we had before. Okay, the next thing that I'll show you, let's do these guys. Okay, so you guys know K-pop Demon Hunters, right? I mean, who doesn't know K-pop Demon Hunters? Well, this is little Derpy Tiger. So this is a character in the Netflix film K-pop Demon Hunters, and that movie has taken the world by a storm, and so many people are coming. Oh, my hair tendril just fell. Did we see that? I'm holding everything together today with crochet hooks. You know what? If that isn't the moral of my life in general, there we go. Anyways, so many people have been coming out with patterns inspired by this movie, because chances are they're going to sell well because it's such a popular movie with kids and adults and teenagers and alike. I don't know anybody who has seen it who does not like it. I mean, I love the music. I listen to the music all the time. In terms of the actual movie, I'm like, I've seen it thrice at this point. Celeste and I jam out to the music all the time. Actually, on my YouTube recap for the year, my top 5 songs, number 1 was Soda Pop, number 2 was Golden, and then it was just the rest of the music from that movie for all of 2025. So that tells you something. Anywho, all of this to say that this character I think is going to sell so well at markets. This is a pattern by Green Frog Crochet. And I will say that this pattern was a nightmare. Not the way that it was written. It was written really well. I use her patterns for a lot of things, and I really like the way that she writes her patterns. Oop, there's a little fluff flying in front of the camera. They're concise, they're clear, they're formatted in a way that's very easy to read, so I do highly recommend Green Frog Crochet's patterns. However, this one, I was trying to trust the process, and I hated the way that it turned out. Yes, it's cute enough. Yes, it looks like the Derpy Tiger, like in a loaf cat format. However, this thing took me like 2 hours. It took so long, and I don't really know why that is. Do I have lipstick on my teeth? I swear, every single time I sit down to film, I gotta check. Oh, my tendril's falling again. We'll just leave it. This is kind of like some sort of anime hairstyle. Yeah. Anyways, the color changes across the back, on the sides, the color changes for the eyes, and then all of the embroidery work. You have to make the tail separately. It was just not fun to make, in my opinion. And this is interesting how it's made too, because normally with a loaf cat, you start at the front, right? And then you work your way back in like a tube. This started at the top. You started in a chain and then worked around the chain to form like a big oval and then worked down from that. But the problem for me anyways, and I feel like most of us have this problem, especially with the plushie yarn, when you're working into the back side of a chain with amigurumi, there's always holes. There's always gaps. So I had to go back and sew it up. Also, I was using the invisible color change method, you know, where you start the stitch, like you do half the stitch in the new, or the old color, and then you color change to pull through to color change for the next stitch. That's what I was doing, and I don't know why this looks like scrambled. I don't know why it looks like that, but I mean, it's kind of cool looking, so I didn't embroider over it. I thought that it was kind of funky. It is no-sew. For the ears, they're just crocheted on. And then for the nose, the muzzle, you go through and surface crochet bobble stitches. No, I'm sorry. I did that on mine. We'll get there. the baubles you do in the round as you're working before color changing to the white to do the bottom. And then the tongue you surface crochet. And then of course the embroidery, as you can tell, is a lot, and then you sew the tail on. So this took a long time, but knowing, or thinking anyways, that it would sell really well, I wanted to make another one, but I was like, can I freehand this and make it easier? And the answer is yes. Oh, I used orange glitter discs for this. I know people on Etsy are selling Derpy Tiger like custom safety eyes with resin, like hand painted ones like I do from the website. But this is all I had on hand, and I really didn't want to hand paint eyes. Wasn't in the mood to do that during recovery. I just wanted to sit in my little chair in the living room and binge watch Desperate Housewives and crochet. So anyways, one Derpy Tiger. That took forever. So this is the Derpy Tiger that I came up with. And you guys are going to have to let me know. Do you want me to write up a pattern for this? So essentially what I did was I used my loaf cap pattern, which I do not have a written pattern for. I just have it on an index card that I use, or I really have it memorized, to be honest. But I used just my loaf cap pattern, and then I used the same tail from green. No, I didn't. I was contemplating using the same tail from Green Frog Crochet, but it's a lot thicker. So, I mean, it's not difficult to figure out. It's just like 5 in the round with black, and then you color change to blue and then embroider some stripes, you know? It's not, what's the word? Proprietary, really. So similar tail to the Green Frog Crochet pattern, just different quantity of stitches and a little bit longer. And then I did not do any color changes in the body. I just embroidered. And I feel like you're one of two people as a crocheter. Either you would rather color change or you would rather sew and embroider. I am the type of person who would rather sew and embroider than do color changes. So that is what I did for this. And again, it could have been a me issue with this one, but the straight lines do look a lot better. They are a similar size. Mine did turn out bigger, though. It's definitely taller for sure. For the little blue spots, those are embroidered. The ears are crocheted in the round. So on the Green Frog Crochet, you have to go back and surface crochet them. This one on mine, I did it in the round, and then I surface crocheted baubles at the front. And then same strategy for the tongue, where you just slip stitch, chain a couple, and then slip stitch back into that same hole. And then color changed for the little white sock feet. So here are my two Derpy Tigers. I'm going to put the same price on them, and we'll see which one customers prefer. Honestly, they don't look that different from each other, besides mine is bigger, so that's the only reason why I think mine might go first if they have the same price. Well, then again, should I even put them both out at the same time? Maybe not. I'll probably put one out at a time, and it might go in my misfit bin. I dare to bet that tomorrow the Derpy Tiger is going to be one of the first things to sell. I hope. I hope I really do well at that market, because Christmas time is here. And I just bought a shed, a she shed. So we hope we sell out at the market. Okay, so the next thing that I made is something that is very special to me, very near and dear to my heart, because I wrote a new pattern, and that is for Luna the unicorn. So as you can see back there, I have all my Snuggle sprites. So this is a series of crochet patterns that I have been working on for the past few months. And these are big, snuggly critters. I designed these specifically for toddler age children. My daughter is 1, and she can definitely hold this. She likes to hold it by the neck, and then it looks a little cryptic how she carries around these things, but it's adorable. But these are meant for like young children to be, you know, something special, homemade from the heart, from grandma or auntie or mom. And so the next one in the collection is Luna the Unicorn. So this is actually in testing. Actually, today was the due date for testing. So by the time you're seeing this video, Luna the Unicorn is going to be out. And while I'm showing her, I wanted to take a second to show you guys the tester photos. And since it's been a while since I've sat down to film, I have not shown you guys the tester photos from a couple of other of the Snuggle Sprites. So Finnegan the Fox, Clover the Cow, Lulu the Lamb, and who was the other one? Maisie the Mouse. Those, yeah, and Maisie the Mouse. Those are all of the pictures that I'm going to roll for you guys on the screen right now because I want to give a huge shout out to my testers. So roll the footage. So much again, my wonderful testers. And if you're interested in testing any of my future patterns, including the future Snuggle Sprites that I have releasing, then go ahead and follow me over on Instagram at the Celestial Homebody, same way that it's spelled here on YouTube, same profile picture and everything. I'm easy to find over there. And you can apply for pattern tests over there. So Luna the Unicorn pattern is now out. I guess I'll tell you about the yarn that I used. So, excuse me, for her body, because she's a unicorn, I had to add some sparkles. So this is Burnout Baby in Sparkle, and it's kind of showing up under the bright ring light. Hang on. Ghost appearance in 3, 2, woo! Okay. So I had to use the sparkle. Now, I will say that every single skein of the Burnout Baby Sparkle that I have touched has been thick. thick with 3 C's, thick. And I use a 6.5 millimeter hook, and my stitches, almost said titches, my stitches on this guy are tight because that yarn is just, it's so dense. Like, that's the best way that I can describe it, is visually, it doesn't look any thicker than regular Bernat or Bernat Baby, but something having to do with the sparkle just makes it, like, when you push down on it, you know, you're holding the strand, you try to push down, it doesn't like spring up nicely like Bernat Baby does. It, like, you can it's like a tube. You can hardly even pinch it. So if you've never used the Bernat Sparkle, that's just a warning for you, although it does look very pretty and it is very appropriate for the unicorn. For her hooves, these are, this is Premier Basic Chenille Brights in the color Ballet Pink, and then her muzzle is same yarn but in blush. By the way, this is a completely no-sew pattern. That's a lie. It's low sew. The only thing that you have to sew on is the horn. Everything else is crocheted. I think. Wait, did I do the ears no sew on this one? I think the ears are crocheted. I don't remember. I made this like 4 weeks ago. For the body on her, I used Loops and Threads Sweet Snuggles Light, and I am just trying my darndest to work through that yarn, because every time I have to work with it, I'm just like, ugh, I guess I gotta use it up. You know, you guys have that yarn in your stash, right? Where you're just like, I gotta use it because I have it, but I'm really not thrilled about having to use it. That's how I feel about all of the Loops and Threads yarn, because it's just, it's thin. It's thinner than like the Chenille Brights or the Bernat or anything like that. And it sheds like crazy. Yeah. So I'm working through it. So I used the purple up on her. And then for her hair, the piece de resistance of the unicorn, this is the Premier Basic Chenille Tie-Dye in the color Peace and Love. One of my favorite all-time colorways in a yarn, because I love pastels, and this is literally a beautiful pastel variegated. So there is Luna. Oh, and I embroidered her eyes, of course, because she's meant for a little kid. Oh, and for her horn, I use Mustard in the Basic Sprites. So I don't even have any more room up there. So I don't know what I'm going to do with her for right now, but she's not going to market. I'm not planning on selling any of my demo Snuggle Sprites, but I have had a lot of you guys ask if I was selling them, and unfortunately no. But if you're interested in a custom, then reach out to me on email or Instagram. So Luna, then I made 20 chicks in eggs. Now, this is a pattern that Robin, also at Knotting Hook Crochet, as well as many other crochet tubers, swear by. And I have never made one of these or taken any to market, but I just decided to go hamburglers on making chicks and eggs, and I ended up making 20, so I hope that they sell. It's not really the right time of year for the chick and the egg. I feel like these would sell a heck of a lot better at a spring market, but I do love how they're like an interactive thing. So who knows? And like these, I feel like would be good stocking stuffers. Celeste loves these. Like I said, she's almost 14 months old, but we're at the age where we like to put things into other things and take things out. And so she has a blast with these. And I made them in all different eggshell colors and chick colors as well. So this pattern, I can't think of who it's by, but it's going to be linked in the description box along with all of the other patterns that I'm talking about in this video. This pattern is very easy to follow. It's only 2 pages long. You do have to make 3 separate parts to these though. So you got to make the top of the shell, the bottom of the shell, sew them together, and then the chick, and then of course the embroidery for the beak and the little fur tuft for the hair. So I normally hate batch making things, but I did batch make these. So I went through with my yarns for the eggs first, and I made all of the tops and all of the bottoms. And then I sewed them all together, and then I made all of the chicks, and then I went back, did all of their beaks, went back, did all of their little fur tufts. Now that did take me about 4 days to do all 20 of them. And full disclosure, in this count, I am counting the eggs as one item and the chicks as the second item. So technically, what I'm about to show you is going to be 40 of my 100 items here because they are 2 separate pieces. So cheating? I don't know. I'm going to say no because I just got cut open in the abdomen. And so what I say goes here. Anyway, so for the chicks, I mostly use chenille brights from Premier. And then for this shell, this is actually Bernat Baby Blanket. And I got this at Walmart and it is so soft. It's very similar quality to the Bernat Mystical, which I know a lot of us love. This is a variegated, and I believe the color is something along the lines of Sandy Shore, something like that. But it is so soft, and I thought that it just added a little fun difference. You know, some eggs come in white, some eggs come in tan, so we got a little bit of both. So we did one in that. We did another one that is very similar. Robin always says that the yellow chicks sell the best for her. So I did a lot of yellow chicks, same eggshell color. Then we did this one in the same eggshell, but for this chick, I did, look at him. He looks like Ronald McDonald. We did a white chick with a little... with a little red tuft. This is like a classic chicken, you know, with the red tuft. It's so goofy. He's got like a receding hairline too. Look at that. There's that one. Then I did this one, which is the same. He's got like Beetlejuice hair. I should do a Beetlejuice chicken and egg. For the fur, by the way, is that all that I did in that yarn for the shell? Yes. Okay, then I did a couple of white shells. But for the fur tuft, I either used Bernat Pipsqueak or from Premier, the Bunny Brights. That's like what the red is. There's another one. We did another white and yellow. I did 4 of the white and yellows because I figured that these would be the best sellers. I'm not going to put them all out at once. No, I did more than that. There's 5 of the white and yellow. This one is a little pink chick with a little pink top. This is not Bunny Brights. This is just Baby Bunny. So the difference on Premier between the Bunny Brights and the Baby Bunny, the Bunny Brights is like long fur, and then the Baby Bunny, it's like, it's short. See how short it is? And actually on those red topped ones, I actually had to cut the fur because it was like sticking out like high, like really high, and some of them kind of came out looking like what's the guy's name, the villain in Incredibles 1? Syndrome? Is that what his name is? Why does that sound like a slur? I don't remember what his name was, but that was like the hairstyle that they were giving. Hopefully you know who I'm talking about. Oh, there's another white and yellow. Also, I used 10mm eyes on these, and the pattern calls for 8, and I didn't have any 8. So I feel like the eyes are a little bit too big. This one's little beak is slightly off center, but it's okay. It's handmade. Okay, so that was all of the boring white ones. I did, that also sounded like a slur. I did 1 brown egg because I lost yarn chicken and couldn't make any more. And on this one, look at this guy. Look at this baddie. This is a black chicken with the bunny brights in red. See what I mean? Does he not look like the villain from The Incredibles? You know who I'm talking about. I embroidered white eyes on him because I figured you wouldn't be able to see the black safety eyes. Boop. These things are really fun. Okay, then I did 2 eggs, and this is the Burnout Mystical, and in this one I did a little pink chick with a white tuft. This one's very monochromatic for the girly girls. And then on this one I did a white chick with white fluff. This one's very classy. You know, this is for a classy person. Then I did one in Burnout Sparkle in purple, and I lost yarn chicken, so I was going to make a second one. I was able to make the bottom of it, and I ran out of yarn for the top, so I just frogged it out and then threw the rest of the purple sparkle into my scrap bin. And this one, because this yarn is so thick, it's the same one that I used on the unicorn. Look at how much bigger it came out. Same amount of stitches, it's just very thick. I also used a 6.5 millimeter hook on all of these. And this one, I used my favorite yarn. This is that pastel tie-dye. Because I thought that the purple looked fun. This one's definitely very springy. Oh yeah, and then for the hair, this is Burnout Baby Pipsqueak in like the rainbow variant, but it just so happened that I got mostly blue on this little guy on his head. Speaking of that peace and love yarn, I did 2 eggs with that. I figured that these would be great for like springtime Easter markets. So this one has a little yellow chick in it with white hair. And then this one has a little white chick with pink hair. I had a blast, you guys, pairing all of the yarn for the chicks and the hair and the eggs. It was a good time. I did 1 egg, and this is Burnout, regular Burnout blanket, but the color is celestial blue, so I had to buy it. I'm a sucker for anything celestial, even if only in the name. And then for this little chick, I did that peace and love tie-dye. I tried not to do a variegated chick with a variegated shell. This is the only one where we got that. But I had so many white chicks and yellow chicks that I was like, hey, white chicks. It's been a hot minute since I've seen that movie. Anyways, I had so many of the white and the yellow that I wanted to do something fun. And then for these 2... So this yarn is Burnout Blanket Tie-Dye, and I ran out of yarn. Another project that I lost yarn chicken on. As you can see on this one, for the bottom half of the shell, I ran out of yarn, so I grabbed the closest thing that I could find in my stash, and this darker blue is regular Burnout Blanket. So for this chick, we did that, actually for both of these, no, just this one. This is that same sandy shore, whatever color, Burnout that I used for the other eggs. And then finally, the 39th and the 40th plushie so far. In this egg, we have a white chick with blue hair. She's an alt girly. A scene girl. Do scene girls still exist? Probably. So there were all of my chicks and eggs. That's 20 of them. So hopefully those sell well, because I really don't want to be stuck with those until springtime. Actually, I don't have another market for the rest of the year. Tomorrow is my last market. So I'm going to be stuck with them till springtime, because I doubt I'll sell all 20. So the next thing that I made is one that I got, well, a pattern anyways, that I got on Black Friday / Cyber Monday. A lot of content creators who sell patterns on Etsy were having sales for this past weekend. So I got a handful of new patterns. I myself was having a sale, but that's done now. That's another thing, by the way. If you follow me over on Instagram, I share when I have sales and stuff. So if you want updates about that. And a lot of people bought patterns, which I'm so grateful for. Like Nyx the Dragon was like one of the best sellers, and I hope that you guys enjoy that pattern. Actually, I have a couple Nyx the Dragons to show you today. But anyways, this pattern that I'm about to show you was one in that bundle of new ones that I bought. And actually, it is one of the only new ones that I did. It is the only new pattern that I did. Everything else, I have had the patterns before, or I've had the patterns or I have made them before. So this is a giraffe, and giraffes are one like creature animal that I get requests for a lot at markets. I've had at least on 3 separate occasions somebody come up to me and ask me if I have a giraffe, and I never do. So we finally got ourselves a giraffe pattern, and this one that I'm linking for you, it's a mama giraffe and a baby giraffe. So I made the mama giraffe. I will say that I completely went off script. About after I did the legs, I just kind of freehanded it. So I did my own color changes for all the spots. Once I got to the head, I started following the pattern for the snout. And then I was like, this is looking too small for the body. So then I increased more than what it said to. So just take everything that I have to say about this pattern with a grain of salt, because I just flew off the handle with it. It did take me quite a bit. This took me about 2 hours to make because there are a lot of color changes. So it's a lot of cut and tie. It's also fairly large. I mean, look at, that's like 2 of my heads, and I have a very big head. So, I'm anticipating putting like a $45 price on this, because I normally charge $20 an hour for my time plus material. So I think that that is completely fair. Plus, for how big this is and with how often I get requests for giraffes, I'm sure somebody is going to want to purchase this. At least I hope so. And hey, if it doesn't sell tomorrow, then I'll put it up on the website. So check the celestialhomebody.com if you're interested. So for the yarn for this, I did not go with a nice bright yellow. As you can see, this is a more mature, more moody, classy giraffe. I used mustard. Actually, I used the color Sunflower in Big Twist Plush. If you remember Big Twist, in the arms of an angel. I used the plush because I wanted it to come out a really big size. I figured before I started making this that it was going to take a hot minute, so I wanted to get size out of it for my time. So I used a 7mm hook, and the sunflower color in the plush, and then this is cardamom in the Big Twist Plush. And then for the eyes, I just use green glitter discs. I thought that this dark green color was just really pretty and popped well with the mustard. Do you agree? Oh, also I did my own thing for the tail too. I just slip stitched to the body because I was frankly too lazy to make the tail that it had me make and then sew it on. But overall, I would say the pattern was really easy to use. And if you use a nice fat yarn and hook, these things come out really good sizes, I think. So hopefully this guy sells too. What should we name him? I feel like he needs a name. Jeremy the giraffe. I like that. Jeremy is going to market, and hopefully he goes home to a new family. Okay, the next thing that I have to show you, let's show you all of the rodent, oh, sorry about that, all of the rodent-like creatures. The marsupials. I don't know, is a skunk a marsupial? I don't know. Ask the lady in the phone. I'm recording on my phone, so I can't ask right now. Is a skunk considered a rodent? If it's not, it's got to be in the family. They've got to share an ancestor with, like, you know, the mice, the rats, the squirrels, the possums. So anywho, I made a little skunk and I made a little squirrel. So this is Nutmeg the squirrel. I almost said squirrel. I used to know somebody who pronounced it like that, and so I pronounce it like that ironically now, and I know it drives people crazy, which is why I do it. But anyways, this is Nutmeg. This is a pattern by Stacy Makes, and every time I've made one of these squirrels, they have sold. I actually made 3 of them at the beginning of the year, and then every market that I put one out at, it sold. Unfortunately now, this is going to be my only one, and I say unfortunately because Ryan likes to always have 3 of them on display in a little triangle, and we call them the spice squirrels. But right now we only have Nutmeg. We normally have Nutmeg, spice, ginger spice, and what was the other one? What do we name it? Cinnamon spice. So unfortunately now we only have the one, and I did not get around to making any more. I was going to try to make 3 of them so that we could have the girls all back together, but we just got one. These guys don't take a ton of time, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how fast you crochet. Oh, an order just came through. Thank you. I don't know who it was, but thank you. Oh, I'm so happy. I love it when that happens. I love being in here when the little thing ticks. Although you can't see really the numbers because Seraphina's blocking it right now. But anywho, 45 minutes to an hour. They don't take a ton of material either. For the tail, you should use fur. I feel like without the fur, you just wouldn't get the full effect. Now, I used the baby bunny because it was the only brown that I had at the time in terms of fur. And I feel like you should really use a fluffier fur. The last squirrels that I had a nice bushy tail. And I think that is really what helped them sell because they look more realistic. But regardless, this is a very easy, fairly quick pattern. I actually sell these guys for $18, and like I said, they sell well. So we did one squirrel, and then I also did a skunk. Now, Stacy also has Pepper the skunk, I believe its name is, pattern, which I do own that pattern. But because I was already using the squirrel pattern, I already had it pulled up. I just used the squirrel pattern in black and then just did my own thing for the markings on it. But go support Stacy's squirrel and skunk pattern. Her skunk is shaped slightly differently. It's got a much longer snout. It's a little more realistic. This is just like some rotund black and white guy. But like I said, I used the same pattern, but then for this one, I just got another order. Thank you, you guys. You're making my day. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the little white, I just surface crocheted this, and growing up, I always thought that skunks had like a white line going from the top just down straight the body. But no, did you guys know that their white often splits like this? Oh my gosh, and another order. Oh no, never mind. That's just an Etsy feedback. Well, thank you, Becky, for leaving a review. By the way, if you guys buy any of my patterns or have bought any of my patterns in the past, don't forget to go leave it a 5-star review on Etsy. It really helps me out and I appreciate it. And it's free to do, so thank you if you do, or if you have. But for the white on this, I use the Burnout Pipsqueak. This side goes out farther than this side, but just like with real skunks, nature's markings, they're not perfect. The only other time that I brought a skunk to market, it sold. So I've got high hopes for Pepe Le Pew here. Speaking of marsupials, we've got 4 of these. Wait, let me put them on my fingers like a child putting olives on their fingers at Thanksgiving. Look at my little family of possums. So this is obviously a possum finger puppet. Now, Ryan made 3 of these. I made 1. You can tell the one that I made because it looks slightly different. I did not stuff mine as much as Ryan stuffed his. And then I also embroidered the eyes on mine. So, little bit of a cheat too. Ryan made 3 of the items in my 100. But these guys are so much fun. Celeste freaking loves these. She thinks it's the funniest thing in the world to be chased and for the little possum to run up her. I've brought 2 or 3 of these actually to my last market. You might have seen the vlog, the veterans market. I brought 2 of them and they both sold, I think, that day. So we made 4 of them between both Ryan and I. The nose on that one is big. And possums just sell really well for me. I feel like no matter what form I've made them in the past, they always sell well. And speaking of possums, we actually have an IRL possum friend who is living somewhere near our house, maybe under like our back deck, but I don't mind. They're good for the environment. They eat like mice and rats and snakes and ticks and everything. So we're going to put out a little box for him with some straw in it so that he can stay warm, because I get so worried about him because, you know, they don't have any fur on their tails and noses and ears, and so I feel like I don't want him to get frostbite, and it's like 23 degrees outside right now where I live. So we're going to set out a little campsite for him and he can hang out for the winter and hopefully keep all of the critters that we don't want at bay. I'll put in footage here of, we captured him on our back doorbell camera on our back porch. And I know the night vision, it makes his fur look kind of weird. I keep calling him a him. I don't know, but, he's not carrying babies or anything, or she's not carrying babies. It just like manipulates the fur weirdly. But I'm 99% sure that's a possum. And Ryan is 100% sure because he works nights and he comes home at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and that possum or a possum has been hanging out around our house multiple times that Ryan has been like walking into the house after work. So, yeah, 4 little possums jumping on the air. I'm losing it, you guys. I've been recording for 50 minutes and I still have so much to show you guys and so much to talk to you about. Water break, hydrate or dihydrate. Okay. Let me talk about all the Nyx the Dragons that I made now. We're going to go through these ones really quick because I'm going to show you these more in depth actually in a future video. The reason that I made all of these little baby dragons, number one, they sell amazingly. This dragon pattern is one of my all-time best-selling patterns in terms of like the finished product selling at markets. But I made a bunch of these baby dragons because we're doing a video that's coming out in a couple of weeks, next week, maybe the week after next, where we're doing a battle of the brands with yarn. And I'm comparing and contrasting all of the really popular yarn brands that I talk about often and that you hear other plushie crochet YouTubers talk about often, so that you guys know more about them in terms of size and feel and shedding and workability and structure and all of that stuff. So I made the same pattern in all of these different yarns. So we're just going to fly through these because I'll talk more in depth in that video. So here's the first one. By the way, this is my pattern. I'll link it for you, of course. Nyx the Dragon. And you know what? Just because I'm in a holly jolly mood, I'm going to discount it for you. This weekend that the video goes up, Friday through Sunday, it's going to be on sale for you. So if you have not picked up a Nyx the Dragon pattern, then you can do it. This is, like I said, bestseller for me, but almost everybody else that I've talked to who has bought this pattern and takes them to markets, they sell well. But also just kids just love them. If you have a kid in your life that likes dragons, these are quick. I think for a dragon pattern, these are very quick. These take me 30 to 45 minutes to make, depending on the embellishments. But anyway, so there's one Nyx the Dragon. There's 2 little baby dragons. We've got a strawberry dragon. Ooh, ah. Actually, I can't put these in my bag yet because I gotta film that video. So they're not going to market this time. We've got this dragon, which is like a Starry Night theme. We've got the Rave Dragon. And then finally, we have the Festive Dragon. Wait, I have to take this to market because it's my last market before Christmas. Okay, I might need to film that video tonight then, or maybe, I don't know what I'm going to do. Make another one? Maybe not take it to market, and then if one of you guys want it after I film the video, or just save it till next year. I've got a lot of options. So there were 6, I believe, Nyx the baby dragons. Then I made a bunch of leggy frogs. Now I know that a lot of people are over the leggy frog thing. This was very much so a trend in the crochet community, especially if you sell at markets. This was big like a couple years ago, even before I got into crochet. But I made 7 of them, I believe, because they do sell well for me. So I freehand these, although I will link a pattern for you that's free on Ribbler. And as you can see, some I make tall and thin, some I make more short and squatty, because to each their own. So this color, this is such a fun color. This is that Premier tie-dye, and the color is glow something. Dang it, I should have looked it up before. Maybe not, maybe it's not glow something. Groovy glow? No, I don't know. I could just be pulling that out of my butt. But 2 in this little, look at them. Look at them dance. In this color. Then I did 1 in this variegated. This is Premier Basic Chenille Brights. In springtime, I think this colorway is called. Then I did 1 in, this is, it's by Lion Brand. It's called Cover Story. Actually, the color looks crazy on it, like how this eye is dark and this eye is light. So this is Lion Brand Cover Story. I don't know the shade name of the green, but I have something else. I'll show you this next, actually. I have something else that I used this yarn on, and when I had a little bit left, I was like, maybe I can get a frog out of that. I mean, frogs are green, so let's go ahead and go for it. Unfortunately, I lost Yarn Chicken, so for this leg, I don't know if you can tell, but it is slightly different. This is actually Burnout Mystical, and although it's this very much so smaller yarn than the Cover Story yarn was, it was close enough of a shade that it still all looks cohesive. So 1 green, then I did 3 camo frogs. This is another tie-dye color from Premier Chenille. On the 3rd one, I lost Yarn Chicken, and so I kind of had to give him pants. So I just pulled out a brown yarn that kind of matched, and now it just looks like he has pants. So I don't know if he's going to get discounted or if somebody is going to love his quirkiness as he is, but that was 7 leggy frogs. So this is the item that I use that Cover Story on. So this is a much better representation of what it looks like. So it's very similar to the Burnout Mystical in the color Spearmint. This one has more of a light dark variegated to it though. So as you can see, there's some spots of it that are really dark, and then some spots that are like white, have white mixed in. But this is a cactus cat, and I have made this before. She's got a little bit of a wobbly head. I've never taken one of these to market because the last time I made one of you guys reached out and wanted it, like before I even had a chance to put it up on the website or take it to market. So I made another one and we're going to see how she does tomorrow. But this is a very just unique, fun pattern. Honestly, you could use this pattern and not make it a cactus. It's just a nice big cat pattern. For her eyes, these are very special eyes that I got to point out. These are from my friend Christine at What's Up Cupcake. She is here on YouTube and then also sells on Etsy. I'll link her Etsy down below. But she hand paints eyes just like I do, and she sent me these a few months ago. These are from her Wicked / Wizard of Oz collection, and they're green. And I just thought that the green on these, like, do you see how there's some gold refraction in those? It's not straight green because I didn't want it to just blend in with the cat. Like on the Giraffe, like I could have used just green glitter discs, you know, for this, but I felt like these hand painted eyes just did this cat pattern so much more justice. So I'm happy that I used them. And then for the little, these guys, the little flowers, forgot what a flower was called for a second. I was almost going to call them blooms, which I guess is not that far off. This is both the Premier Chenille Basics Brights. So this takes about 2 hours, but it comes out to a really good size. And I'm going to put a $55 price on this because this yarn, this cover story yarn, is not cheap. It's actually quite expensive, and it used almost an entire skein. Although I did have that little bit left to do this frog, but as I said, yarn chicken was lost. So there is one cactus cat. I love her little paws. Okay, so the next couple things, these are kind of boring. This is just a free pattern on Instagram. This is a little shark / whale pattern. I just made a bunch of little yellow baby sharks. I made 3, and then I omitted the top fin and did 2 little orca whales, killer whales. Fun fact for you, Ryan was almost eaten by Shamu at SeaWorld when he was about 2 years old. True story. Back then in the 90s, you could have tankside dinner with Shamu, and he was a little toddler, and he's a middle child, so his parents forgot about him all the time, and they were sitting there eating dinner. They were dealing with the older child and his younger sister and not paying attention to Ryan, and then they look over at him, and Ryan is teetering over the edge of Shamu's tank with the killer whale coming toward him. They got him in time, but Ryan's, one of his formative memories is Shamu swimming toward him. And every time I tell that story, my sister thinks it's the funniest thing in the entire world. So Ryan was almost eaten by Shamu. Now we've got some loaf cats, and we can throw these right into the bag because, I mean, the loaf cat, you don't need to know much about them, but this is that Bernat baby in the sand color. I did 2 because they don't involve color changes, but they still offer a little bit of visual interest. I did 1 Siamese cat. We are Siamese, if you please. I did 1 calico cat. Do you guys want me to write a cat pattern? I feel like there's so many of them out there. I mean, I could just put it for free. This one I used gold glitter disc eyes because it's black, so the safety eyes don't show up. Those big eyes on this one are very cute, and black cats with white socks always sell well for me. Then I did 2 fun colors because I wanted to use up this Loops and Threads Sweet Snuggles light yarn. I did this cat, and I used up that whole skein. I probably, over the past couple weeks with all this stuff, I used up probably 10 skeins of yarn. There is stuff floating everywhere. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, got a little dribble there. Then the last cat that I did is in that Peace and Love color. I had a little bit left, after doing the chicks and eggs, so I used up that entire skein on this cat. And every time I've made a fun, funky color cat, they tend to not sell well. So we'll see how these do, but I don't know. Like if I was a child, I would much rather have a funky color cat than a regular color cat. But that's just me, especially if it was pastel. So bunch of loaf cats. See, I'm like rushing now through them because I feel like I've been talking to you guys forever. And still quite a few things to show you. Okay, next free pattern that is on Instagram is the rubber duck. I have made these before. They're pretty easy, pretty quick to make. Excuse me. I do not follow the instructions for the bills. I do my own thing for the bills because in the pattern I feel like it just comes out not proportionate to the body. So I ended up making 5 of these. Now for these, look at how bright this one is. So this yarn that I use for all of these, I think it's Bernat, and I got it at Michael's, and it is literally urine yellow, which is Ryan's favorite color, so he loves these. But I have had that skein for like a year now. I feel like I got it in a shopping vlog, so maybe you guys remember when I got it. It was in like a cake, and it was one of the very last yarn hauls that I did from Joann. So it hasn't been a year, it's been a couple months, but I feel like it's been forever. But the reason that I really wanted to get rid of it was because, as you can see, I store all of my yarn in skeins, not in cakes. I feel that this is a lot more efficient for me personally. So that cake of this bright yellow yarn did not really fit in. So I always just kept it underneath my desk and I just wanted to use it up. Unfortunately, with these 5 ducks, I lost yarn chicken. And then, oh, dappled. That's what it's called. Bernat dappled. So that is when the skein like changes colors. So as you can see, like the top of this head is very slightly lighter than the bottom of this one. This one is actually pretty solid throughout. There's no like major color differences. This one is a nice pale yellow. Here we have another pale yellow duck. This one is pale with a paler bottom, just like me, because on this one I ran out of this Bernat dappled, so I had to pull out some Bernat to finish off the bottom. So hopefully nobody minds. And then we did a 5th one, and then this one also I had to, actually no, this isn't Bernat, this is Chenille Brights in the color Banana. I had to do the head in this different yarn, so especially on camera you can really see that color difference. All this fluff, all I want for Christmas is for fluff to not fluff no more. This Bernat dappled is bright, man. It is like neon yellow. The banana color I feel like is a lot more rubber duck appropriate, but we did get 5 ducks. I made about 5 of them a few months ago and I finally sold out of all of them, so I wanted to restock. I made one, oop, something just fell. I made one lone Gengar Chonky Mon. This is a free pattern by Naughty Nat on Instagram. I've talked about the Chonky Mon before, so we're not going to dwell on it. One Gengar. I was intending on making a bunch of Chonky Mon, but I just didn't get around to it. Where is that thing that fell? Oh my gosh, I went all the way back here. Ah. Okay, got it. So, okay, these I'm excited for, you guys. I'm very excited for these. So earlier I mentioned Green Frog Crochet. This is a pattern by her. So you guys might know that I have a golden doodle named Paisley. She's laying behind me. And I also have a little Maltese named Jovi who's laying right next to me. So I had to make a little Jovi and a little Paisley. And so this pattern by Green Frog Crochet is just so cute. They're like bobblehead dogs. I mean, they don't really bobble, but like big head, little body. It's something about it is so nostalgic to me for like the early 2000s. Like, remember the dog from the early 2000s? Leave me a comment if you know what I'm talking about. It was like a dog with like a giant head, and like the days of the eye pooch. And I don't know, just something about the style of this is so reminiscent of that for me. So she has 2 dog patterns. One of them has little legs and one of them does not. It just has little baubles. I thought that the ones with the legs looked a lot cuter, and of course they do, but they also like add, I don't know, probably 15-20 minutes for me anyways. Maybe not that long, that's exaggerating. 10-15 minutes to the pattern. So I did this one first to make it look like a little doodle for Paisley, and then the second one that I did to make it look like Jovi, I just ignored the pattern for the legs and I just freehanded it and just did baubles. So I will say, if you're not somebody who likes to make a bunch of pieces separately and then crochet them all together, get the pattern that has the baubles instead. So this one almost looks more like well, they both look like they're sitting actually. I don't know. This one just, I feel like they both look cute. I really don't mind not having the legs on them. And although they were inspired by my dogs, I'm still taking them to market. Loaf cats always sell well, so I was looking for a dog pattern that was still quick and that would sell well. These are not nearly as quick as the loaf cats by any means, especially like the color changes ones that I'm about to show you. Color changes ones? What kind of grammar was that? Also, I'm sinking. Hang on. There we go. Let's fix the posture. The ones that have color changes take about an hour. These took about 45 minutes, whereas loaf cats take me like 20 minutes. So double the time, but I am putting a higher price on them. And dogs you do not see as often at crochet booths because everybody's and their monkey's uncle is doing the loaf cat. So anyways, we got a little Jovi and a little Paisley. I also did a pug, and this one I made with its head turned. So it looks like it's sitting with his head turned. Oh, so precious. And then finally, I did a husky. So this is actually a 5-in-1 pattern. So you can also do a corgi, and I just didn't get around to doing the corgi, but I feel like corgis are not super common. Actually, now that I say that, that's a lie. In my town, there's like a whole corgi cult. People here like corgis and Jeeps. In fact, one of our neighbors runs like a Jeep show thing, a Jeep ride every year, and everybody brings their corgis. So I really should make some. Maybe for next Greensburg Fall Festival I will, since a lot of locals come to that. But anywho, these, I think, at least I hope that they are going to be a smash because I do enjoy making them, and there's something that's a little bit more unique. Speaking of not being unique, I made some chickens. So this is also my pattern. This is the Stardew Valley inspired chicken pattern. So I ended up making 3 blue chickens, which is good that I did because I actually just got an Etsy order earlier today for a blue chicken. Somebody looks like they got it for a loved one for Christmas. So I got to set one of these guys aside to ship for that. We'll do that before I forget. 2 blue chickens with the purple comb. These are inspired by the game Stardew Valley. I've talked about these 1.5 million times, so I won't go too deep into that today. I did a couple of classic white chickens. I did 4. I've been out of chickens for a while, or close to out. I've been completely out of blue and completely out of white. So these were definitely ones that needed to get done this week. I did 2 brown chickens. Enter. I'm turning them like they're the little, like the pink and purple unicorns in Charlie the Unicorn. Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, Candy Mountain. I'm showing my age in this video a lot. And then I did 1 little black chicken. And finally, a big black chicken. Once you go black, you never go back. So I've heard. So this one was meant to be the same size as this, but like I said, during my surgery recovery, I was binge watching Desperate Housewives, which is like a dramedy from like the early 2000s. And I was not paying attention to my increases. And then I was like, this thing is looking really big. Like really big. And I got to here and I'm like, do I want to frog it or do I just want to make a giant chicken? And I decided just to make a big Mac Daddy black chicken. So the only thing that I did differently on this besides increasing too much is I added a tail, wings, and then the little gobble, which honestly just looks like a bow tie, and I'm fine either way. Whether you see it as a bow tie or a gobble, I love them both. He's a dapper gentleman. And then for the wings, I pretty much did like a sea turtle flipper and then did a couple of little picot stitches to make them look ruffled. And then for the tail, I did the same tail that I do on my blue chickens, which is in the pattern. Of course, white embroidered eyes, because on the black, you're not going to be able to see black safety eyes. But he's big. That's what she said. Speaking of turtle flippers, I made a couple sea turtles. So the first sea turtle that I made is this watermelon turtle. Look at these eyes. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I wish I liked making sea turtles because this is so stinking cute. But I hate making these things. I'd say that all the time. They're just so repetitive. So the sea turtle pattern that I use is actually from a free blog, but I do the flippers just a little differently. I do them the way that Robin does, where once you're done crocheting up the flipper, like to close it shut in half, you chain one turn and then do an extra 3 stitches, and then that just makes them a little more dangly and realistic, and also a lot easier to crochet into the round later. So the reason that I made this is because I finally got my grubby paws on some of that demi pearl from Michaels, and I got hot pink, light pink, and this green, and I was like, what can I make with this? And a strawberry turtle was the obvious choice. Now the dark green is Elise Voluto. I had to cheat a little bit there, but this thing turned out a really good size with that. And I'm going to talk more about the demi pearl yarn in the dragon video when I'm comparing all of the yarns, because I've got some notes on it. But this I used a 7mm hook on and 35mm eyes. Look at those giant things. It makes it look like a baby turtle, and I really enjoy that. So we did that. And then the last thing that I have to show you guys is turtle numero dos. This one I call the Lisa Frank turtle. So you know that green cover story that I used on the cactus cat? This is that same yarn, but in a different variegated. And when I saw this, I want to say it's called Cosmic something, but when I saw the bright colors in this, immediately I thought that reminds me of like a Lisa Frank something. So with this shell color, I paired the demi pearl hot pink, and then the eyes, these were sent to me by a subscriber, and I wish that I knew who it was by. They just came in the mail to me. She wrote me the sweetest note too. What is her name? I'm blanking on it right now, but I will link, I think she sells online. I will link her shop in the description box too. But anyway, she sent me white pupils because she knows me well and she knows that I love white pupils. But look at how stunning this rainbow work is in these hand-painted eyes. And I thought with Lisa Frank, we gotta do rainbow eyes. So this is my Lisa turtle, and I hope that somebody appreciates her as much as I do. This fluff I cannot even deal. So we'll see how she does at market. So you guys, that was everything that I made. We did in fact fill up an entire body bag of plushies. That's wild. And I don't even have all of them in here because all of my Nyx the Dragons are still sitting on the desk right there. So, whew, I've been busy. And to be honest with you guys, it's going to be a little bit before I sit down and film another one of these videos, because I have videos lined up already through the end of the year, including one that has been highly anticipated, which is the She Shed delivery and update on that. So I did a full like 1.5-hour vlog of that entire process and designing it and planning it. And so that vlog is coming out next Friday, so a week from the day that this one's going up. So you're probably not going to see me IRL until a couple weeks. That's a lie, because I have the market tomorrow, so you'll see the market vlog. So that was everything that I crocheted. So if you want to dip out now, thank you so much for hanging out and for watching. But if you're interested on just chatting with me for a second while you're working on what you're working on, then hang around. Let me take a little sipple. So first of all, thank you everybody who has sent me DMs with like best wishes for a speedy recovery. So if you did not know, back in early November, I had a major abdominal gastrointestinal surgery. I had a giant hiatal hernia repaired, as well as a gastric bypass revision. So to briefly recap, because I've talked about this before, so I don't want to talk your ear off with info that you've already heard. Back in 2021, I had a gastric sleeve. I ended up having some medical issues because of it, specifically GERD, chronic GERD. So I was put on the schedule to do a revision to a bypass, and insurance covered that because we have countless documentation and tests showing that I do have severe reflux because of the sleeve. So that was on the docket to get done during surgery, but also I had a hiatal hernia, which was likely making the reflux problem worse. And that we saw in imaging about 2 years ago. So my firstborn, Sawyer, he was 23 inches long at birth. And that is a large baby. That's like some people's toddler size. Celeste was a little itty bitty thing. She was only 18 inches, but Sawyer was 23 inches long. He was a moose. And because he was so big, what we think happened was his little booty in there kind of like prolapsed my diaphragm in like a weird way. So long story short, I went into surgery early November 12th. And they told Ryan, my husband, that I was going to be in surgery for about 1.5 hours. And then 2 hours came and went. And then Ryan started freaking out, as I would too. What ended up happening was I was on the table for 1 hour longer than what they thought, because once they got in there, they found that the hernia was actually a heck of a lot bigger than what they thought. So they had to open up an additional port on my stomach because it was laparoscopic, so all robot. So they opened up an additional port so that they could get into where they needed to repair, and then they ended up having to do a bunch of extra sutures on my diaphragm. So recovery was rough. Really rough. The first 2 weeks post-op, I was hating life. I was like, why did I do this? I could have lived my whole life with my chronic reflux instead of doing this surgery. I'm happy to say that I'm feeling so much better now. I still can't eat a full diet because after the bypass, you have to go through stages of like building up to food again. So for the first 2 weeks, I was on an all liquid diet. Right now I'm on a puree diet, so I can have purees and like baby food and stuff. And then next week I'll get to move to soft foods, which I'm psyched for because I want like pasta so bad. But I cannot resume like a full diet like I was eating pre-surgery until February, which is a long time to go without like crunching like anything. You don't realize how much you miss crunching something until you have to go 2 months without crunching. And then 2 weeks before surgery, I was on a liquid diet too. So it's been a long time since I've like eaten real food, and it's definitely messing me up psychologically because I just want to just want to like chow down on a bag of chips or something, which is probably good that I don't, because part of the bypass is the weight loss side of it. By the way, I'm down about 30 pounds since the last time that you saw me. I mean, the TMI maybe, but if you're thinking that I look snatched, I'm being a ham today. So about a week after surgery, I started having shortness of breath. So they told me when I was discharged that if you have shortness of breath, you got to go to the ER, because that could be a sign of a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot that goes to the heart, and that is no bueno. Or to the lungs, one of the two. Heart, I think. So I started having shortness of breath. So I went into the ER and they performed a D-dimer, which is a blood test, and that came back positive. And they're like, well, if it's positive, that means that you might have a blood clot, or it could just be normal inflammation from being post-op. But if it's negative, then you for sure don't have a blood clot. So when it came back positive, I was like, oh boy. So they did a CT on me. We were in the ER all day long, of course. Did a CT. Turns out I had a PE, as they call it. So I have had to be self-injecting blood thinners, Lovenox, and that has been a nightmare. Sticking yourself with the needle is not fun. Normally I ask Ryan to do it, and I'm such a baby. Like, I gotta like ice pack the little spot, and then he's got to do it while I'm like scrolling on Instagram. So I'm distracted, and then we got to put the ice on it right away. That stuff burns. If you've ever had to do a Lovenox shot, it sucks. And unfortunately, I knew how much it sucked, because after I had my C-section with Celeste, they did it in the hospital, and I'm like, ow, like that hurts more than my C-section incision does right now. So that has not been fun, but the good news is I am on the mend. Thank you all so much for your prayers and well wishes. I'm feeling great, just very excited to eat normally again, just in much smaller portion sizes. What else? Oh, update on my knee really quickly. I don't know. I don't think it's completely healed, but shortly before I had surgery, I tore a ligament in my knee, and fortunately I was able to walk. Like, I was hobbling like 2 days before surgery, but I woke up from anesthesia after being under pain meds and everything that they were pumping me full of. When I was discharged from the hospital and we got home, I was like, I didn't even realize that my knee isn't hurting like at all. So I don't know if it was just the pain meds or like just me being under anesthesia and just resting a lot more than I normally do. My knee has almost completely healed itself. I would say it completely healed itself. I still think that I should be doing physical therapy though, because I don't know, sometimes if like I step the wrong way, or like, oh, the pops when I bend down, pop it, lock it, drop it, if you know what I mean. When I bend down, it's like snap, crackle, pop in there. It's really bad, and I'm like, that's probably not normal, but I don't know. So yeah, so those are my updates about me. I hope that you guys have been great over these past few weeks that I haven't been sitting down and talking with you face to face like we are now, but I hope that you have enjoyed all of the content that I have been putting out over the past few weeks nonetheless, and stay tuned for that She Shed, episode 1 of that whole journey. It's going to be a good one. I'm actually about to go edit it tonight. So thank you all. Oh, and thank you to our members in the Cosmic Couch Club. You guys keep this little galaxy spinning. Without your support, I don't think that I would be able to have done the studio shed. So really, from the bottom, deepest, darkest crevices of my heart, thank you. And if you're just watching this, I appreciate you too. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy almost New Year, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.